There was more reckoning on Friday from the failure to stop Lawrence G. Nassar, who is accused of serially abusing more than 150 young women while he was a doctor at Michigan State University and for the national women's gymnastics team. The fallout stretched from the university to USA Gymnastics to Capitol Hill. At Michigan State, Mark Hollis, the university's athletic director, abruptly announced his resignation just 2 days after the university president, Lou Anna Simon, resigned. "This was not an easy decision for my family, and you should not jump to any conclusions," Mr. Hollis said in a statement in which he also declared, "I am not running away from anything." A lawyer for the university has said an inquiry had found no evidence that high-ranking administrators knew about Dr. Nassar's conduct before 2016. But that inquiry has not been made public in full, and the Detroit News reported that more than a dozen university staff members had heard of reports before then. Michigan State investigated Dr. Nassar after a recent graduate made a Title IX complaint against him in 2014, and the school cleared him. Mr. Hollis pledged to cooperate with any investigations, including the Attorney General's and one the NCAA has opened. Also Friday, the remaining members of the USA Gymnastics Board embraced a demand from the United States Olympic Committee for everyone to resign. 3 members had already stepped aside this week. U.S.A. Gymnastics will comply with the USOC requirements, Leslie King, a spokeswoman, said in an emailed statement, referring to a letter from the Olympic Committee. And the House Energy and Commerce Committee announced it would investigate Michigan State, the USOC, and USA Gymnastics, along with USA Swimming and USA Taekwondo, in relation to sexual abuses alleged in those sports. Drive. Nassar was sentenced on Wednesday to decades in jail, on top of decades he had already received on federal child pornography charges, for sexually abusing 7 girls. His sentencing hearing over the prior week included statements from more than 150 of his accusers and family members. At the first public meeting since Ms. Simon's resignation Wednesday, the university's Board of Trustees appointed Bill Beekman, the university vice president and board secretary, as the acting president and announced a nationwide search for Ms. Simon's permanent replacement. It also reiterated its support for an investigation by the state's attorney general, Bill Schuette. "I call on it to be completed expeditiously," said the board chairman Brian Breslin, "and call on him to appoint an independent third party to promote bipartisan acceptance of the result." Friday's board meeting contained statements of regret by trustees, nearly all of whom had stood behind Ms. Simon just 1 week ago. "To all of the victims, we failed you," said Brian Mosallam, a trustee. "For all current MSU students, alumni, and faculty, we failed you. This board has come across as tone-deaf, emotionless, and lacking in compassion." Joel Ferguson, another trustee, testily addressed the firestorm he ignited earlier this week when he publicly dismissed the scandal as "this Nassar thing." He apologized to his fellow board members for putting a target on their back, later clarifying, "I said I was sorry." The trouble at Michigan State appears to go beyond Dr. Nassar, who was a university employee for decades and the physician to 2 women's varsity teams. An ESPN investigation Friday described a pattern in which sexual assault complaints involving prominent athletes, including more than a dozen on the football team and a few in the celebrated men's basketball program, were handled by the athletic department rather than through regular university channels. Michigan State insufficiently complied with federal officials monitoring the university under Title IX, the gender equity law, the report found. The report also said that ESPN shared the main findings of its reporting on Wednesday and requested interviews with multiple administrators and athletic officials, including Mr. Hollis, indicating that the report may have helped prompt his resignation. Mr. Hollis had been Michigan State's athletic director since 2008, and was considered one of the best in the country. Mark Hollis is a very good man, and I don't know why he chose to quit, Mr. Breslin, the board chairman, told reporters after Friday's meeting. Dan Gavitt, the senior vice president of basketball for the NCAA, said Hollis has been an innovative leader for men's college basketball. Mark is a supportive friend and colleague to all of us involved with the sport, who always kept the experience around the game and for fans a top priority, Mr. Gavitt said. Mr. Hollis received his undergraduate degree from Michigan State in 1985 and had worked in its athletic department since 1995. After he ascended to his current position, which a university spokesman confirmed he will depart next Wednesday, annual department revenue jumped to $123 million from $81 million, per USA Today's financial database. In the high-profile sports of football and men's basketball, Mr. Hollis was credited with keeping Michigan State extremely competitive even next to more nationally recognized rivals such as Ohio State and the University of Michigan. Since 2008, the Spartans have won or shared 3 Big Ten football championships and reached 3 Final Fours in men's basketball. The basketball team is currently ranked number 6 in the country and is seen as a national title contender. Mr. Hollis served on the men's basketball tournament selection committee. He was the chairman last year and he was known for helping to advance eye-catching events, including basketball games in the center of indoor football stadiums, hockey games in outdoor football stadiums and, twice, basketball games on an aircraft carrier. Last year, Mr. Hollis oversaw the suspension and then dismissal of 4 football players accused of and then charged with sexual assault. At a June news conference addressing those incidents, he called Michigan State my home, noting that he and his wife had met there as students and that their 3 children had attended or planned to attend the university. I expect my home to be safe, he said, adding, like any home, its safety requires shared responsibility and accountability. As athletic director, I am responsible to make tomorrow better than today.